Ezra grew up in a house where hugs were scarce. There was no sound of joy there, nor a curious, "How are you?" Time merely passed. No one asked Esra what she drew, dreamed, or felt. Yet her heart somehow knew love even if she had never fully felt it. Inside her was a vast, colorful world, a place no one else could see. There, she spoke to the stars. At night, she would lean against the window and whisper to the sky, "You hear me, don't you?" The stars never replied, but their twinkling seemed to say, "Yes, we're here." She would whisper to the sun, "Make me a little stronger today," and beg the moon, "Don't forget me." She didn't hide her tears when she was sad, but she had long since stopped crying. One night, as she slept, a wind began to howl outside her window. At first, it frightened her. But this wind, it sounded different. It was almost like a song, like a call. In the center of the moonlight, the wind whispered, "Come." The next morning, her heart was filled with a strange feeling. She started walking in a direction she had never gone before. It felt like her feet were moving on their own. The concrete buildings faded. The trees began. She arrived at the edge of a forest. The leaves trembled gently, as if they'd been waiting for her, and Esra stepped into the forest. The forest had recognized the voice inside Esra. It had heard her warn, but never giving up heart. And now it was opening a path for her. A journey where she would remember her true self, learn love again, and discover the light within her. From beneath the ground, a voice rose with her very first step. "Welcome, Esra." The trees seemed to breathe. The earth felt her steps. At first she heard murmurs not of the wind, but something deeper. It was the echo of a calling from within. "This is the way," the forest said. Ezra didn't know why she was walking, but it felt as if her heart had been waiting for this path all along, as the forest embraced her like a secret. The silence turned into something else, a deep conversation. It felt as though every tree, every branch, and every breath of wind was trying to tell her something. It wasn't a call anymore, it was a realization. At the start of the path, one of the high branches trembled slightly. Esra looked up. A pitch-black raven met her gaze. In its eyes, there wasn't darkness, there were mirrors. She saw her reflection, her fears, her anger, her curiosity. The raven took flight. It didn't fly away completely, nor did it come too close. It jumped from one tree to another, occasionally glancing back at her. She followed it. With each step, questions filled her heart. Who am I? What am I looking for here? The raven stayed silent, but its eyes said everything. Ask yourself. She stopped. Her heart beat faster. Why do I feel so lonely? She whispered. The raven moved its beak gently. For the first time, it spoke. Because no one ever listened to you. Tears welled up in Ezra's eyes. What if I can't hear my inner voice either? The raven came a little closer. First, listen to the silence. The voice hides there. Ezra sat on the ground. She listened to the forest's murmur, her own breath, her heartbeat. Then she spoke again. Who am I? The raven opened its wings, but didn't fly. Its eyes pointed in another direction. You can't know the light without looking at the dark. Esra paused. Until then, she had always run from the dark. Closed her eyes tightly, walked with quiet fears. But something shifted with the raven's voice. It didn't feel like it came from the forest, but from within her. Suddenly, she realized the darkness wasn't just fear. It was the unknown, the unexplored, a part of her waiting to transform. Behind her fears. A strength was hiding. When she looked into the dark, she didn't get lost. Instead, she found herself. She stood slowly, hand on her heart. She took a breath, deep, calm, steady. The raven's eyes looked at her, black, but not empty, like a sky full of meaning, whispering creativity, reflecting courage, calling inner wisdom. The raven beat its wings, not just stirring the air, but lifting old fears from Ezra's chest. With each beat, a veil lifted. First came curiosity, then courage, then the desire to know herself. Ezra began to walk deeper into the forest. There was no more trembling in her steps. The raven circled overhead, leaving a trail of light behind it. And Ezra understood. Darkness was her rebirth. The raven, her guide of transformation. The forest returned to silence. But not a still silence, one of anticipation. Ezra kept walking. Her footsteps blended with the soil. Suddenly she heard a hum. Turning her head, she saw a bee resting on a flower. Then it took off, drawing a circle around her, flying ahead. Every few steps, it landed again. It paused, then flew again. She realized it allowed her to rest, but kept calling her forward. Are you waiting for me?" she asked. The bee hovered near her ear. This time, its hum felt like a whisper. "The road isn't long. Impatience is." Esra froze. She wanted to look back, but the bee landed on another flower. She approached. "Do you ever stop working?" "I do stop," said the bee, "but I never give up." Ezra noticed a tiny flower growing between the rocks. It was bent but still alive. She reached out and gently touched it. The bee spoke again, this time in a warmer tone. "To grow is to labor. You'll get tired, you'll fall. But if you rise each time, then you're truly moving forward." Esra closed her eyes, took a deep breath. Her knees hurt, her feet ached, but her heart was steady. "I may get tired, but I will not give up," she whispered to herself. The bee flew one last time upward, and then vanished. The forest began to darken. The path narrowed. The trees grew thicker. Esra no longer knew which way to go. Everything looked the same, just. Then, a golden light appeared among the trees. It slowly took form, a deer with slender legs and delicate antlers. It shimmered, as if woven from light. Ezra looked into its eyes. Deep, calm, as though seeing both past and future at once. The deer said nothing. It began to walk. With each step, a soft light bloomed on the ground. Esra followed. A voice rose in her mind, not a thought, but a whisper spoken very close. "Where are you going?" Esra paused. She turned to the deer. "I don't know," she whispered. "I just feel like I need to go." The deer looked back at her. Its gaze held no judgment, only understanding. Within that gaze, a hidden answer lived. Then it spoke, softly. "The path isn't drawn outside. Your direction is found by the voice within." Esra kept walking. Her steps were cautious but certain. After a while, a second question echoed in her mind. What if I'm on the wrong path? What if fear is playing tricks on me? The deer stopped and turned. What do you truly believe, Esra? Not what you've been taught, but what quietly grows inside your heart. Esra lowered her head. She tried to hear that faint voice inside her. It wasn't clear yet, but it was there just then. The path split in two. To the right, a smooth, bright trail. To the left, a stony, misty path, unknown and uncertain. She hesitated. She looked toward the left. This path is harder, she said, not hiding her fear. The deer nodded gently. The difficult path is the one that makes you grow. Esra hesitated again. What if I get scared? The deer took a step, then looked back. Its voice deepened. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's choosing to walk with it. Trust your inner voice. These words sank into Esra's heart. She took a deep breath, then stepped onto the left path, the stony one. The stones beneath her feet glowed softly. The deer continued on, without looking back, leaving a trail of light, disappearing into the mist. As she walked further along the misty path, the forest grew quieter. The deer had already vanished from sight, but the trail of light it left behind still burned in Esra's heart. She walked alone for a while. The sound of the wind changed. A humming vibration filled the air. A heavy, deep shadow appeared in the sky. Esra looked up. First, she saw an enormous wing, then the other, and then a massive body covered in golden scales. A dragon. It soared through the air with regal grace. Its eyes sparkled not with fire, but with a wisdom that seemed to have been kept for thousands of years. When the dragon landed, the ground trembled slightly. But instead of fear, Esra looked with awe. Her heart was racing, but not from fear this time. It felt like a door was about to open inside her. She stepped forward slowly. The dragon's eyes were as deep as the dark sky, but there was a spark burning within them. And in that moment, Esra saw her reflection in the dragon's eyes. But it wasn't the same Esra who whispered shyly to the sky from her bedroom. This was an Esra with eyes burning like flames, piercing through the darkness, walking with the wind. She saw the dragon within herself, her hidden strength, her deep curiosity, her trust in herself. In that moment, Esra chose not to cling to fear, but to embrace the light. The dragon bent down, offering her a place on its back. Esra stepped up bravely and let herself rest on its back. It felt warm, safe, and full of power. The wings spread, the sky opened, and then they rose. The dragon soared toward the sky. The trees grew smaller. The clouds passed by. Esra now looked down not just at the forest, but at her life, her past, her pain, her loneliness, her courage, at everything. Perhaps for the first time, she felt true freedom and love. As the wind swept through her hair, the dragon spoke for the first time. Courage is carrying your inner light into the world, and you are ready now. As they rose higher, Esra lifted her gaze to the sky. At that moment, the sun winked. Its golden light struck the dragon's wings and then reached Esra's heart. The light didn't just illuminate her path, it lit her from within, and in that brightness, A memory returned, the words she used to whisper while looking out her window in the mornings. "Sun, make me a little stronger today." She had once wished to be stronger. Now she truly felt it. But this strength wasn't just for herself anymore. This light existed to reach into the darkness of others too. Esra whispered, as if speaking to the dragon, "The sun heard me, and now I am someone who can be heard." The dragon turned its head slightly toward her, eyes filled with pride and serenity. Esra no longer felt like a small girl. She felt like the bearer of the power within her. After a long journey, the dragon descended back into the forest. When Esra jumped down, she felt her feet touch the earth, but her heart still touched the sky. The forest no longer looked the same. The trees seemed friendlier. The birds sang more melodically, because Esra had changed. And so had the world with her. But then she looked around and noticed some parts of the forest were still dark, beneath the branches, between the stones, deep among the roots. Shapeless shadows stirred there. They whispered chilling words. "You can't do it. You don't deserve it. You're alone." Esra shivered. She knew those voices. They had whispered to her before, when she was alone in bed, when she was disappointed, when she felt unloved. But now she had something to answer them with. A warmth rose from the center of her heart. It was the love within her. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and slowly opened her arms wide. The light from her heart spread in waves. First, a shimmer passed through the mist around her. Then the shadows drew back, tree trunks, leaves. Everything glowed with a gentle light as she walked. The ground beneath her feet sparkled. Wherever she stepped came alive, grew colorful, vibrated with hope. A rabbit emerged from the shadows. It was trembling in fear. Esra knelt down and picked it up. The light passed to the rabbit too. It blinked, and its tiny heart calmed. A little further on, more children were hiding in the darkness. Their eyes were dull, their hope faded. Esra walked toward them. She reached out her hand, and in that moment, their eyes began to shine too. The light was contagious. Now Esra knew darkness was just absence. When it met light, it disappeared. The dragon watched from afar. Its eyes smiled. Before flying away, it left one last whisper on the wind. True courage is not just lighting your own path, but lighting the way for others. And then it rose into the sky. Esra did not get lost in the dark, because the light she had been seeking was always inside her. And once she found it, she began to light not only her own path, but the paths of others too. Because now she knew. She had learned to hear the voice of intuition from the raven, the strength of effort from the bee, the direction of light from the deer, and true courage from the dragon.